Welcome, Bitcoin fam, to the #1 Bitcoin pod, and congratulations to all Bitcoin haulers across the world. We hit a new all-time high here today of 109,888, just shy of 110,000. Price discovery still in play as we're hovering around 109. At the time of the live stream, this is going to be a historic day, so let's freaking go. In today's show, I'll be breaking the latest technical analysis down for you as we surpass 109, as well as breaking news. Texas House passes strategic Bitcoin reserve bill. That's right, yo. And check it. Bitcoin overtakes Amazon and Google to become the 5th biggest asset in the world. Game on. And quoting the high priest of Bitcoin, Max Kaiser, did Javier Milei screw the pooch by embracing worthless shitcoins and not loading up on Bitcoin at under 100,000? That's precisely what he did, Max. He screwed the pooch. Also, Genius Act legitimizes stablecoins for global institutional adoption. Hong Kong passes stablecoin bill set to open licensing by the end of the year. Also, Bitcoin blow off top set at 128,000 with new all-time highs in sight. Price discovery, baby. Also, Strive targets 75,000 of the biddy from Mt. Gox claims to build their own Bitcoin Treasury. Also, Bitcoin to skyrocket to 600,000 per coin as the S&P crashes 50%. According to top analysts, we'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. Very important to smash those likes, then go ahead, subscribe, hit the bell icon, turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every day, just like this. Today is pod episode 1998. I'm your host, JV, and a historic day, May 21st, 2025. We just hit a new all-time high, virtually $100 shy of 110,000. That's a sexy bitty blackjack. Price discovery is in play. Higher numbers are on the way. And let's kick it off with Coin 360, the entire market pumping and jumping. Bitcoin above 108.3, up 1.5% on the day. Ether in the green, XRP, and the bulk of the entire crypto market. And checking out coinmarketcap.com. The current crypto market cap has hit 3.41 trillion. We ain't seen nothing like this since we achieved the all-time high in January. The Bitcoin market cap, also another divine omen, 2.1 trillion, another 21, sexy bitty blackjack babe. And we have 166 billion worth of volume for the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance back on the climb, 63.3%. Ether dominance back on the decline at 8.9%. Checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours. And Dog with Hat leading the pack, up 16%, followed by Monero, up 13%, followed by Pi, up 12%, which Alta, if any, are you bullish on for the bull? Holla. And checking out the crypto bubbles, we get a visual perspective on the day. Safe to say, everything is bumping in the green. Even Trump coin is up 5% on the day. I'd say like 90% green, 10% red. And zooming out for the week, and unfortunately, the bulk of the market in the red, and zooming out on the month to get the broader perspective, and I think it's all going to flip green. That's right, because the entire market has been jumping. A lot of liquidity being added to the crypto sphere. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index. Today, we're a 70 greed. Yesterday, 71. Last week, a 73. And last month, a 39 in fear. And checking out the infamous time chain calendar, if it ever loads. We're currently on block number 152,286. My apologies, 152,000 blocks to the next halving. We're on block number 897,714. And as of today, how many sats per dollar? Let's see if this mofo loads. I say about only 923 sats per dollar, and that number is going to continue to shrink. Remember, like it was yesterday, it was like 1,600 sats per dollar. Those days are past us, and by the time it's $1 per sat, we'll be sitting at $100 million Bitcoin price. So you know what to do. Pick up the sats, put down the gas, and pick up some Bitcoin caps from my man Sergio over at BitcoinCaps.net. And if you don't know, now you know, bitty broskies and baddies with our TA, aka astrology for the baddies. Headline reads, Bitcoin hits new all-time high of 109 as the trade war tensions ease. And we also will pull up the live charts when we're done here. Bitcoin set a new high, currently 109,888 on Coinbase, rising more than 26% in the past 30 days, according to data from TradingView. The climb to the record high came 9 days after the White House announced a 90-day trade agreement between the U.S. and China on May 12th, temporarily slashing those import tariffs to 10%. Because guess what? You can't tariff the biddy. The 90-day tariff suspension and the cooperative tone in negotiations removed the risk of sudden re-escalation, which had a significant impact on the risk appetite amongst the traditional crypto investors. Now, U.S. President Trump's reciprocal tariffs were seen as the biggest macroeconomic threat to traditional equities and crypto markets this year. Bitcoin briefly fell to a year-to-date low of 74,000, and it's wild. That was literally a month ago on April 7th, 5 days after Trump announced his reciprocal import tariffs on April 2nd, sending shockwaves across the global markets, with the S&P losing more than $5 trillion in value and its largest drop to date. Bitcoin started its recovery April 9th after Trump's Libertarian Day marked the climax of uncertainty for the market participants. Meanwhile, Mikhail Van de Popp had some insights to share. Bitcoin entered May with a near flawless setup, flawless victory. Bitcoin kicked off May with a near flawless setup, catalyzed by the rare alignment of the geopolitical de-escalation, improving regulatory optics, and macroeconomic tailwinds. The Russian-Ukraine ceasefire talks have diffused one of the primary geopolitical volatility engines of the past 2 years, rather than triggering capital flight from Bitcoin as often seen when risk wanes. This easing is unlocking a risk-on rotation. We are seeing capital rotate into Bitcoin and high beta tech as the need for geopolitical hedging fades, but liquidity remains abundant. The capital rotation reflects maturing narrative as Bitcoin is no longer just a fear hedge. It's increasingly a high conviction risk asset in periods of macro stability. Very well said, and you can see this post from Trump on Truth Social regarding Putin, Russia, but I'm not going to read all that right now. But in a nutshell, Russia and Ukraine will immediately start negotiations towards a ceasefire, very important, and more importantly, an end of the war. Can I get an amen? Fantastic. Still, funding rates need to remain neutral and open interest stable for a consecutive setup that may ignite a Bitcoin rally above 114 to 120 in play. Other analysts are suggesting 130,000 or above before the end of the year. I mean, easy peasy. We may have 130,000 before the end of May, but just saying. Now, the increasing money supply may push Bitcoin's price above 132 before the end of the year. Easy peasy. And investor demand is driven by the fiat money debasement growing, according to analyst Jamie Couts over at Real Vision. Now, I also want to touch upon some other news. And this was an article that was just published right before I went live. So I just want to touch upon it because it's a big deal. Texas House passes their strategic Bitcoin reserve bill. As you can see here, Texas State Representative Giovanni presenting SB 21, the new Bitcoin law. The bill passed in the Texas Senate with a 25-5 vote on March 6th. Initially, Texas's economy is the second largest in the U.S., hence why it's a big deal, with a gross domestic product of $2.7 trillion just in 2024. So as more and more states are looking to adopt Bitcoin, I believe there's currently 40 active, with New Hampshire having the first mover's advantage. I also want to point out some other breaking news. Bitcoin has officially overtaken Amazon and Google to become the 5th biggest asset in the entire world. You can see currently number 1 is gold at 22 trillion, and Bitcoin's coming for your head, kid. Watch out, Peter Schiffmeister. And quoting the High Priest, Your Holiness, Max Kaiser, did Javier Milei screw the pooch? I love that quote. I've never heard that before, that phrase. By embracing worthless shit coins and not loading up on Bitcoin under 100,000. I think you're right, Max. He did absolutely screw the pooch. Mess that one up. And let's also pull up the live charts because I promise to do so. First, I saw another super coming from Jason Buck, my homie, with the Bitcoin Orange. What up, CNA fam? Bada boom. I bought a Bitcoin. This gong strikes for you, brother. Thank you so much, Jason. We're 40% of the way to our goal. If we can get 6 more supers at $5 or more here on our YouTube channel, we will do a very special bonus pump watch today, and we'll let it rip all night. New all-time highs. We currently have 888 live viewers on the stream right now. We're streaming live on X, Rumble, and YouTube. And again, this stream for the pod is typically 2 hours, and if we do the bonus pump watch, we'll keep this mofo going for like 10 hours. Whatever it takes, broskies. But let's do that now. Pull up some of the live chart. We'll do some live chart action. Jackson satisfaction like a young Bo Jackson. You feel me? Look at that green target. All the charts are lit right now, yo. Like bring faxes doobie. I'm just saying. Bullish pennant 116 in play. Obviously a new all-time high. Today has already been hit. There's another target currently in the blue. Right here, shout out Papa Smurf at 110.5. That's a sexy bitty blackjack. And zooming out from the 1 hour, next up, we'll scope out the 4 hour and see how we're looking here. I don't know, there's a little jet lag on the trading view today, but nonetheless, we'll be here shortly. There you go. Okay, bullish pennant formation sensation. Also very similar target to the 1 hour chart. It's going to be 116, I dare say. Yep, 116.3 bullish pennant. So the 1 hour is bullish, the 4 hour is bullish, and let's continue to work our way backwards. Get some broader perspectives here. Next up, we're pulling up the daily chart, and then the weekly chart, and then the monthly chart. The daily chart says it's going up forever, JV. We also have a rising wedge here. We've been building momentum pretty much all week since the weekend, and Bitcoin's has not been disappointing. We also have a bull target on the daily. Currently in the red here, sitting at 111,000. Again, sexy bitty blackjack, 110, 111 in play. We may hit both those targets here shortly today during the live stream, especially during the pump watch. Heck, we can go to 120,000. We're ripping like a new Scottie Pippen. And checking out the weekly chart, we still have the sexy cup and handle target in play, rising wedge formation. I want you to pay attention to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green candle closes. One is still open, the seventh one, but the past 6 weeks we have closed in the green. Bullish momentum has resumed since we hit Q2, which is a beautiful thing. And we still have 124,000 target in play. It's kind of covered on the screen, but there you see it. Cup and handle, 124,000 in play, according to the weekly chart. And that can happen literally overnight. It can happen during the pump watch. Anything is possible. Bitcoin has no top. Fiat has no bottom. Orange panty night, broskies. And zooming out on the monthly, as you can see here, last month we had a nice green candle close, and May has not been disappointing. We're up almost 30% in the past 30 days. The most bullish month we have had since the inception of the Genesis block is the big green candle you can see a few months back in November. And who knows, this may defeat that bullishness. There's just no telling what a Janet Yellen bananas. Just saying. But there you have it, crypto bros. And next up, we're going to discuss big news regarding the Genius Stablecoin Act bill passed from Cynthia Lummis. This was like a big story yesterday. We didn't really cover it on the pod because it happened virtually right after. But anyways, headline reads, Genius Act legitimizes stablecoins for the global institutional adoption. Stablecoin adoption amongst institutions can surge as the U.S. Senate prepares to debate a key piece of legislation aimed at regulating the sector. After failing to gain support from key Democrats May 8th, the Genius Act passed the U.S. Senate in a 66-32 procedural vote May 20th, which was yesterday, and is now heading to the debate on the Senate floor. The bill seeks to set clear rules for stablecoin collateralization to mandate compliance with anti-money laundering, tax avoidance. Anyways, this act doesn't just regulate the stables, it legitimizes them. It sets clear rules, and with clarity comes confidence, Mr. Gensler, if you're watching. That's what institutions have been waiting for. Stablecoins aren't a crypto experiment anymore. They are a better form of money, faster, simpler, and more transparent than the fiat. It is only a matter of time before they become the default. And most likely, I assume the same thing. I think stablecoins will replace the fiat currencies because it's ultimately programmable fiat currency at the end of the day. Now, the Genius Act may be the first step towards establishing a unified digital financial system, which is borderless, programmable, and efficient. Perfect for the lizard folk. When the U.S. moves on stablecoin policy, the world watches. Republican Senator Ms. Lummis, the co-sponsor of the bill, pointed to Memorial Day as a fair target for the potential passage. And they said that the regulatory clarity alone will not drive this institutional adoption. Products offering stable and predictable yield will also be necessary. Falcon Finance is currently developing a synthetic yield-bearing dollar product designed for this market. So ultimately, a competitor versus storing fiat in the bank, which is, a melting ice cube. And where do you get 0.001% interest nowadays. You know what I mean? So what if they were to pay, just hypothetical, like say 4% on your money? I think it would encourage a lot of people to do that versus waste their money like a melting ice cube in the bank. And what do we call them, folks? You already know. Yield-bearing stables now represent 4.5% of the total stablecoin market after rising to 11 billion. You got to love that number in total circulation. Despite broad support for the Genius Act, some critics say the legislation does not go far enough. Chief Operating Officer at BitGet shared that the bill doesn't fully address the offshore stablecoin issuers like Tether, which continue to play an outsized role in the global liquidity. And last I checked, the Tether market cap is like 150 billion. There's no one even remotely close as far as other stable competitors. He added that the U.S.-based issuers will now face deeper costs, like accelerating consolidation across the market and favoring well-resourced players that can meet the new thresholds. Still, Zaid acknowledged that the legislation can bring the greater stability to be regulated offerings, depending upon how it ultimately worded and how it is enforced. And here you have the man of the hour. I mean, that's the Tether CEO, Paolo, and again, the biggest stablecoin provider in the world, and they're headquartered in Bitcoin country in El Salvador for the win. And if you didn't know, Tether USDT is considered a registered security in El Salvador, so it's legal to use. All other altcoins, everything besides Bitcoin and Tether, are considered illegal. So just FYI. Bitcoin being obviously a legal tender and Tether being registered security. Everything else is an unregistered security in Bitcoin country. Next story of the day. Let's discuss what's going on in Hong Kong, as we have been touching upon. Stablecoin should be able to see on your screen. There you go. Hong Kong passed a stablecoin bill set to open licensing by the end of the year. Where my Hong Kong Bitcoin dons at? Hong Kong's Legislative Council passed a stablecoin bill, paving the way for the regulated framework that can position the region as the global leader in digital assets. This is significant to me just because I love Bruce Lee, who is from Hong Kong, the Dragon. Bitcoin 2024, Year of the Dragon. Just saying. It is expected that by the end of the year, major institutions will be able to apply to the Hong Kong Monetary Authority to become licensed stablecoin issuers. According to the new Hong Kong legislation, stablecoins must be backed by fiat currency as underlying assets. They said Hong Kong is welcoming global enterprises and institutions interested in issuing stablecoins to apply to Hong Kong, offering to personally assist with introductions and collaboration, quoting them here. I'm also happy to facilitate connections and collaborate with all stakeholders to advance the development of Web3 in Asia and globally, with Hong Kong at the center. Let me know if you guys ever visited Hong Kong. It's actually a pretty lit place to be. NG said my favorite, what are they called? Dumplings I've ever had. I lived in China, but Hong Kong's way cooler than China, the mainland at least. And the dumplings in Hong Kong were the best dumplings I've ever had in my life. Just had to throw it out there. But anyways, they marked the first step towards the road towards building the Web3 infrastructure in Hong Kong. The most crucial step is to develop the more real-world applications. They said the stablecoin adoption has the potential to drive innovation in retail payments, cross-border trade, and peer-to-peer transactions. He added he encourages the development and adoption of stables since they represent a major financial innovation regarding enhancing market stability, suggesting distributing interest earnings to the stablecoin holders. Providing interest will strengthen the competitiveness of the stablecoins. This increased competitiveness, he explained, incentivizes broader participation and expands stablecoin market share. Precisely, because what do you get with fiat? You virtually get no yield. You're really losing to inflation. And that's just a fact, Jack. In fact, it's a blackjack. And also remarked that the yield-bearing stables are more competitive following the recent positive data. Research indicates yield-bearing stables have soared to 11 billion, 11, a divine omen, in circulation, representing 4.5% of the total stablecoin market, a steep climb from the 1.5 billion and 1% market share from the start of last year. And the stablecoin market hasn't even scratched the bitty surface. Just saying. But yeah, next story of the day, bitty broskies, bitty baddies, and ladies and gents, we're going to discuss 128 incoming next logical target as per some of this TA from the analysts. Bitcoin blow off top, set at 128 with the new all-time high in sight. Well, we already hit the new all-time high, and guess what? We'll probably continue hitting new all-time highs for the next 6 months at least, is my speculation. So here you're looking at the one-day chart. Again, we already achieved the exact number on Coinbase is 109,888. And you know what 8 means? It's omen for intelligent infinity. Tapping into that God candle. You already know. Volatility picking up. That's right. And if you shorted Bitcoin, you're a moron. And if you dumped Bitcoin like the country of Germany did at 50 something thousand, very idiotic. You may want to recreate some of those stupid laws. Just saying. Order book liquidity data from CoinGlass showed thickening bid support below 106. And remember that long that added like a few $100 million to its position? Yeah, somebody's crushing it right now. Keith Allen of Material Indicators highlighted several moving averages, which currently the 100,000 mark, the 2025 yearly open as potential long-term support retest zones, as he shared here. The 50-day moving average is on a trajectory to the golden cross. For the 200-day moving average, you can't really ask for a stronger technical support than that. Also, we just had the strongest daily close of all time. We also had the strongest weekly close of all time. So all signs are pointing towards continued price discovery. So let's dive a little deeper into the particular target of 128,000 next, as per crypto analyst Macau Van Day Pop. It's always a good morning when Bitcoin's at 108 and close to a new all-time high. Precisely. And he also said that the new all-time highs were approaching faster than anticipated. 120, he said, was one of several imminent targets, extending up to 200,000 per pretty little bitty, going up forever, Laura. Elsewhere, another trader agreed that 116 as the next short-term bitty price target, seeing Bitcoin exploding out of consolidation pennant. Quoting Merlin, the Great, right here. Massive bullish Bitcoin pennant breakout. Bitcoin coiled for days, now exploding. This pennant points at 116. We're just getting started. Ride the wave or watch it fly away. That's right. Another trader posted a chart here showing 128 as the blow off top while identifying support area. Now 105 and 96. As support continues to build, we're about to break out of this firmament. New all-time highs in play. The million-dollar question becomes, how high will she climb? You guys let me know in that chat. We'll flip it into a pump watch thanks to you guys. So thank you so much for all the support. Once again, give it up for yourselves. Next headline here reads, Strive targets 75,000 of the bidding from Mt. Gox claims to build their very own Bitcoin Treasury. And it seems like there's a new Bitcoin Treasury company being birthed every week. Vivek Ramsawani Strive, oh, you remember Vivek, is looking to build its Bitcoin holdings by purchasing distressed Bitcoin claims at a discount. Smart man. Starting with claims tied to 75,000 of the biddy at the bankrupt crypto exchange Mt. Gox, Strive said on May 20th regulatory filings that it partnered with 117 Castell Advisory Group to target claims to the Bitcoin that have received definitive legal rulings but are still awaiting distribution. The company said buying the claims would allow it to purchase the Bitcoin at a discount and grow its Bitcoin per share ratio ahead of its planned reverse merger with asset entities, which is expected to be completed sometime mid this year. Strive hasn't disclosed any Bitcoin holdings, but claims it'll face fewer restrictions on purchasing Bitcoin than companies going public through special purpose acquisition company mergers. I'm surprised Michael Saylor's not in a bidding war for this discounted Bitcoin. I bet you the entire world would be bidding on it. Strive said it would need shareholder approval to pursue the Mt. Gox claims. The company said it intends to lodge a filing with the SEC to outline the full terms of the proposed transaction. Meanwhile, a proxy statement would then be sent to the shareholders to seek the approval. Strive would need to obtain shareholder approval relatively soon, as Mt. Gox is expected to fully repay its creditors on Halloween, October 31st. And also, the Japan-based Mt. Gox was the largest Bitcoin exchange before it collapsed in 2014 from the security breach, resulting in the theft of 750,000 Bitcoins. Good Lord. Strive's pivot to become a Bitcoin treasury company reflects the broader industry trend as more firms look to hold Bitcoin on their balance sheets as the long-term strategic asset. Meanwhile, 21 Capital is another newly launched Bitcoin treasury firm that has received the backing from the likes of Tether, SoftBank, and Cantor Fitzgerald. The Jack Mullers-led firm plans to launch with 42,000 biddies once it completes the blank check merger with the Cantor Equity Partners. Then we have asset entities. ASST is the ticker, a social media market company that Strive announced would merge on May 7th to create the Bitcoin investment company, has seen its share close price on May 20th trading up 18% to $7.74. The latest share price bump brings its market cap to 122 milli, and ASST is now up 1,170% since Strive announced the merger plan, hence why so many publicly traded companies are doing this. Strive is expected to own 94% of the combined entity once the reverse merger is officially complete, while asset entities will hold the remaining 5.8%. The merged companies will be named Strive and Asset Entities and will still trade under the ASST ticker. Another one bites the dust, and another one down, and another one down. Another one bites the dust, That's all I'm saying. I'm not selling because I don't have any. Precisely, Mr. Corvette. You can't sell what you don't have. Now for our feature story of the day. Bitcoin to skyrocket to 600,000 per coin as the S&P 500 crashes 50%. According to this analyst. So let's break it down. The analyst of the day is Fred Krueger. Nightmares on Elm Street. It's like nightmares on Fiat Street. More like it. As Bitcoin continues to flirt with the all-time high. Currently in price discovery, fam, we did tap roughly 110,000 here today. And us skyrocketing to 600,000 is virtually a 6x from the current price action. And imagine that within 90 days. That's the kicker. While the S&P 500 collapses by 50%. That's right. Prominent market commentator Fred Krueger detailed his prediction in a 10-part thread yesterday, painting the hyper-bullish picture for the biddy, powered by monetary instability, institutional biddy adoption, and a full-scale flight from traditional markets. That's right. Fred Krueger is basing his thesis on the catastrophic breakdown in the U.S. financial stability, beginning with the failed $200 billion Treasury auction in late July 2025. And according to his projection, weak demand for the U.S. debt will potentially force the Fed into emergency intervention, sparking a crisis of confidence in the U.S. dollar. Now, within weeks, the BRICS nations, led by economic heavyweights China and Russia, will announce a goal-back global payment system, speeding up the decline of the U.S. dollar dominance and pushing the pretty little bitty to 180 G's, baby. And then by August, the investor claims the situation will escalate dramatically, while the major U.S. pension funds possibly halting redemptions will force the Fed to impose the yield cap control that should cap the Treasury rates at 6.5%, while the dollar goes into a free-for-all. Meanwhile, countries such as Nigeria, Turkey, Venezuela will ostensibly start shifting foreign reserves into the pretty little bitty, going up forever lower, pushing the price to 265,000, with gold potentially rallying to 6,700 per ounce, and the Peter Schiffmeister's doing backflips again in his living room. The most explosive phase in the 600,000 timeline doesn't arrive till September, when Krueger predicts several U.S. tech titans, including Apple, Tesla, Google, reveal huge Bitcoin holdings, with the iPhone maker allegedly accumulating as much as 200,000 of the biddy since April. At this juncture, he postulates that the crypto price will have reached 460,000 per pretty little biddy. Additionally, the expert speculates the IMF will make a historic move, announcing a new global reserve basket with Bitcoin making up half of it, gold covering 30%, and the remaining 20% taken up by the other assets. And by early October, that's right, Krueger, and that's a special 10 right there for Chandy. Krueger claims the U.S. government will be forced to convene an emergency new Bretton Woods summit, where it will restructure the dollar to be partially backed by the biddy and gold, and it is in this macro maelstrom that he sees the king. Crypto, of course, biddy hitting 600,000, no diddy, gold reaching 10,000, and the S&P losing half of the value. And while Krueger's roadmap reaps like financial fiction, Bitcoin has shown some of the resilience and bullish momentum he is basing his prediction on. For instance, for Christ's sake, Bitcoin's up roughly 30% over the past 30 days, hit new all-time high. Today, anything's possible. Bitcoin has no top. Fiat has no bottom. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the analyst. 600,000 within the next 90 days. Yay, nay, summertime with the biddy. Let me know. And welcome everyone to the Q&A segment of the live stream. Make some noise. We're about to flip this mofo into a pump watch, jamming out to the Chandy Jams. Summoning the Bitcoin Rooster Dragon. 222,000 in play, Mr. Facts.
I got that Bitcoin swagger. You got that Bitcoin swagger. We got that Bitcoin swagger.
Stacking sats, feeling bad, looking sharper than a dagger. You still on fiat? Man, that's tragic. Biddy got me moonwalking.
That's magic.
Prince of popping blocks, thrown on chain. Biddy moon stepping in the Hall of Fame. Where your savings at? On a chain, bro. That's why I strut like I own the rainbow.
Drippy with the cold wallet. Witnessing with action.